PLD Projects presents Holy Snokes, a Star Wars podcast featuring PLD and Matty Gunner. May the Force be with you, always. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to PLD Projects. It's another episode of Holy Snokes, our Star Wars podcast here. Actually, that's the full title, Holy Snokes, a Star Wars podcast. I'm your host, PLD. With me, as always, is my compatriot, my co-captain, Matty Gunner, the young Matty Gunner the younger. What happened, Matty? You're looking like you're 10, 15 years younger.
I went, I did something stupid, Paul. I was texting a young lady, and I said, "Hey,
that's always where it starts." Sorry, go ahead.
Hey, I've kind of got the. She's a Star Wars fan, and I said, "I've kind of got the Obi-Wan Kenobi at the start of Kenobi, looking like he's been living in a cave for 5 years. Look going on right now. What do you think? Should I, keep it or trim it down?" Or she's like, "Just trim it up a bit. Make yourself look not like a homeless person." I was like, "Cool, I can do that." I went too far on one side.
Once you start down that shaven path, forever will dominate your, well, at least next month or so.
This is why we need a Manscaped sponsorship, so we can, because I know they now do the ones for the face.
Yep.
You can have the grading.
Yep.
You can go like grade 1, grade 2, etc. That's why we need to get a Manscaped deal.
I'll see if I can work that out with them when we get a few more subscribers. Maybe it'll work out for us. But
I feel like your stash is in just like perpetual motion. Like it never. You've got like a Dorian Gray. Is Dorian Gray the one that is in the portrait?
Yes,
forever young.
Yes,
yeah. It's just your mustache is just never changes, never grows, never shrinks.
I definitely treat it well with a mustache oil from Guam that Gucci gave me one time, and I'm making up shit now. I can't pull off the Gucci thing, but it is what it is. Well, it is time we're getting down to the nitty gritty of the year. The year's about to end. We're about to get into 2024. It's got some future in Star Wars in 2024. But until then, with the strikes officially ending now, the SAG-AFTRA strikes officially ended last night. Well, they officially added a month ago or whatever, but they ratified it and the vote went through, despite only, I guess, 38% of them voted. That's such a weird.
That's a whole other podcast, my brother. I got some thoughts on that shit that we don't have time for today.
Yeah, I'll say that too. I will say I heard from other people that this is actually 38% was actually a large amount of people that turned out supposedly for the votes compared to Houston. That's a strange thing for me to even consider. But
you got to think as well, the amount of actors that's probably there. 38% is probably quite a lot, but still that number 38. And I saw on the announcement, I saw quite a few people were members who didn't pay their due in time. And still had a week to vote, but they were because they didn't pay their dues in time, they couldn't vote. I did this silly little things like that.
Yeah,
which, I don't know. I'm not an actor.
I don't know the nitty gritty of a lot of that stuff, so I can't. Maybe I probably am not the one to really comment on it. For example, I don't know. Hell, even in this country, we don't get a lot of people voting for the president anymore. It feels like we always try to push people to vote. So maybe it shouldn't be a surprise. But either way, the strike is over, for better or for worse. I know some people weren't excited about some of the things that were put down, especially with AI stuff. But at this point, nothing you can do about it except for try to push for the next contract, I guess, and live well and make our
3 years. 3 years or 5 years.
Yeah, we could be going through this in 3 years ago, as far as I know. Who knows at this point? But either way, what's important to at least, I shouldn't say important is the right word. What's relevant to our podcast now is that projects are starting again, and we're going to start seeing dates of releases of episodes of projects, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, it's more important to talk about the people getting their due and everything else. But as far as this, our concern at this point going on is what's going on as far as Star Wars ramping things up. We do a little bit of news today, but as you saw in the podcast in the thumbnail, we talked about sports and Star Wars because, Matty, you told me about a little fan film trailer that you saw called Podracer, and you wanted me to react to it, and we decided instead of watching it, I'd react to it live. Well, I would react to it on stream here. for you all to see. So we can actually, the first time I've not watched it, I've not heard anything about it. I didn't know it's a fan film. I know it's called Podracer. I assume it's about pod racing. Beyond that, I know next to nothing about it. So we're going to do that. I'm going to react to that. And then we are also going to pitch our own Star Wars sports theme movies, because quite frankly, we're big fans of sports movies. Sports movies are kind of analogous to action movies. When we used to watch Action Movie Anatomy together, and the action guys, Ben and Drew, they always used to talk about some great sports movies that really kind of get us through some tough times. Warrior, for example, our friend Andrew Guy he spent his whole breakup on a couch watching Warrior over and over again. We also, Ben and I have talked about our love for Love of the Game, the baseball movie with Kevin Costner. There's a lot of sports movies that work very well emotionally. So we don't really have a Star Wars sports movie, but there are sports in Star Wars. So let's pitch our own and see what we come up with. So we'll have a little fun today with that as we kind of wrap things up. And of course, next week, we're going to do the great documentary, A Disturbance to the Forest. I say great because I've heard positive things so far. I know I've seen the trailer. I'm excited about it. The documentary about the making of the holiday special, that little redheaded stepchild of the Star Wars universe that a lot of people don't either haven't seen, or if they have seen, they watch it once and will not choose to watch it again. That was me for a while, and nothing against it. I just never got around to watching it again. I might, if I have time, if I can squeeze it in, I might decide to watch the documentary and then watch the holiday special. Obviously, I don't know if I should watch the documentary. I don't know if I'd watch the special first, then watch the documentary, or other way around. I'll have to make that decision on the fly again.
I think watch the special, then watch a documentary if you can.
Oh, well, maybe that'll do. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just say. I know I do have a copy of it, complete with commercials from the date of airing, 1978. So I'm kind of curious to see that as it goes in. I'll have to see. I'll remaster it, I guess, the best of current technology, a fan-made version. I thought, I'm like, okay, I'll take it, and we'll see what happens. But I guess we're gonna find out, my friend. I guess we're gonna find out. Before we go do our sports stuff and the pod racer stuff, let's talk about the news we do have. Of course, I try to curate most of my news from Star Wars News Net. I do like them best as far as they're not spoiled. They don't usually leak things. They do have a great sense of what's is news and what's not news, and what's accurate and what's rumor. And they usually pretty much are pretty great about curating that kind of stuff. So it's a good place to go. I do like to look outside the box every once in a while. We mentioned the Bespin Bulletin spoiler or leak last week about potentially things being pushed for time's sake. But mostly it's Star Wars News Net. So let's get right into a little bit of the news we have. Some fun, some actually newsworthy, and some just passing stuff we can comment on. First thing we'll talk about there is one of those passing comments kind of thing, kind of well, duh, I think, but it's interesting to hear.
Can I just tell you quick? I love how shout out to our friends at Force Center. They have well said, and now we have well duh.
Well done. That is it. Exactly. I didn't. We basically we love our Force Center friends, and so we're obviously going to get influenced by them in some ways. And if that's the way we get influenced by, I have a feeling that Ken and Joseph and Jennifer would be actually very proud of that influence. I think that way. So well done as we go. First news bit: live action Bo-Katan and Ahsoka reunion. There was an interview with Katie Sackhoff, who was talking about the fact that obviously she voiced Bo-Katan in the Clone Wars, where her and Ahsoka had multiple times together, had scenes together, things of that nature. Whereas in live action, they have not been on screen together yet. Bo-Katan pushed Din into the direction of Ahsoka. She mentioned Ahsoka's name, and that's where we first met Ahsoka in live action, but we have not seen them together. They were asked about that specifically, and Bo-Katan, Katie Sackhoff says she knows nothing. I kind of believe that she probably doesn't know very much, although I'm sure she knows a little more than she's able to say. Her response was, yeah. I mean, I can't imagine they wouldn't at some point, but, again, I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. They don't tell me anything until I show up at work with my script in my hand. And I say, well, duh, because honestly, to me, it makes sense. Ahsoka is a Filoni loves Ahsoka, is going to put her on all the projects. We have a New Republic movie that he's going to be directing. He also has been involved with Bo-Katan and that whole Mandalorian side of things, which he also loves. If this is going to be a big culmination of Thrawn, I can't believe that Bo-Katan and Ahsoka wouldn't both be in that movie against Thrawn at some point down the line. So I have to say, yes, I think they'll get together. Whether Katie actually knows something or not, Who knows? Good on her. Either way, I hope it happens, though. I do think that I would like to see them working on screen together. Rosario and Katie Sackhoff would be a great duo. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be the Avengers portal scene in the New Republic movie, but
there you go.
I imagine that we'll see them on screen together again.
Well, duh, as we say here, and it's hard to think. Well, duh.
That's a well done right there.
That's right. I love Katie Sackhoff. You guys actually should check her out. She has a YouTube page. She's doing a podcast called Blah Blah Blah, which she started right before the strikes. It got kind of taken. She stopped it for a while because she couldn't really have these interviews due to the strikes and everything else. She had a great interview with Bryce Dallas Howard. I have on good word that she will be coming back in mid-December. I'm going to be doing back. She has filmed a bunch of interviews already in the can, so she's going to be coming back and bringing them once a week on her channel. And I say that because I guess I'm going to be running her Patreon, so I guess I know a little bit. Hopefully, I have a soft announcement. Christian, I'm sorry if you're watching. No. If I get that, if I could get that, I would. I don't know if I'm that in yet. We'll have to see. I'm more working through Christian.
PLD confirms Katie Sackhoff interview on Holy Snokes next week.
I wish. Maybe sometime we'll do it. That'd be awesome if it did happen. But I'm not holding my breath anyway. I'm working.
I just want to talk to you about her workout routine. That's it. That's all I want to talk to you about.
I talked to you about Halloween for Christ's sake, but anyway, that's just me. All right. Next up, we have another article that this is. We talk about the bad part of fandom and the shitty part of fandom, but I love talking about the good part of fandom as well. And stories like this make me smile at the fandom because it's a story that's. Let me just say it. I don't even you'll understand. The headline is Murley is alive and well. Dave Filoni has to actually confirm that Sabine's Lothcat Murley has survived. I remember after
he does.
After Ahsoka aired and Sabine left Lothal, there's always this big question of, well, who's taking care of the cat? Who's taking care of the Lothcat? How is she going to survive? That's very disrespectful of Sabine to do that. I mean, Sabine's now another galaxy away. What's going to happen? Well, Dave Filoni, who does not do social media, he says, but it even got through that. It got to him that people were worried about the cat. And Dave said, I'm like a pet owner. Of course I know what happens to the cat. It was amazing. All things in the galaxy be concerned about. The fans are concerned about the cat, and it's totally fair. With the cat, obviously, a couple of things at play. I think Sabine would leave the door cracked open. Second of all, I think Murley is smart enough to be able to move through the ventilation ducts up and down that tower. I don't think he needs to operate the elevator. I wouldn't question if he could, but I think he could move up and down the ductwork to get out to the ground level. There are other low cats around. He's not the only one. I don't think Murley's a domestic cat. I think he's a wild cat that lives with Sabine, and she likes that fact and feeds it. Murley knows a good situation, so it hangs out. Murley's an opportunist and probably a bit of a pain in the butt. But yeah, there could be a whole documentary that happens to the love cat. But I love that. What I say real quick is I love that about the fandom is that we concentrate these little things that really don't matter in the grand scheme of things. It's like little plot points that really, in a story is like galaxy inducing as this is. We're all going to worry about the cat because that's who we are. And Dave Filoni takes the time to comment on it. That's the back and forth about Star Wars. It's really good.
Because of his love for wolves, I always pictured him as more of a dog guy than a cat guy. But
you can be both, Matty. You actually can be both. I myself am both. I am both. I love cats.
You are
I love
both.
Dogs.
You are both. I don't know. Cats just hate me for some reason. I don't know why. It's the eyes. I think ever since I saw Constantine and like where that moment where Keanu Reeves like stares into the cat's eyes and it opens the gates to hell.
That could be it. Maybe that they sense that about you and they're not sure about you. Who knows? All right. Next up, this is actually a cool kind of news piece we're looking into. I call it the Bad Batch update because we haven't had an update from Bad Batch since Celebration, since they announced season 3.
You didn't get the update.
Yeah, they showed the teaser there and nothing else. On social media, Jennifer Corbett posted a tweet, and it was a picture of the 4 people in action: David Collins, Jennifer Corbett, Brad Rao, and an unnamed 4th person. And it said, "Toasting to the final mix session of the Bad Batch. What a pleasure to watch David W. Collins and team in action. Can't wait for you all to see what's in store for the final season." Now, is that a big update? No. But last update
I think
we
so.
had
If it's the final mixing session, then
right,
they got to be pretty close.
it's not in the sense of like where we know when it's going to happen or anything else, but it is a sense of exactly my point, exactly what you just said, is that if it's a final mixing session, that means we're in that final lap. I don't know if there's anything else that has to be done after the mixing session. I don't know what order they do things sometimes.
They'd have to master it and then match it up to the actual visuals, but
seems like we're close.
Yeah, the voice acting's done, and they mix the audio, so just be mastering it, cutting stuff up as it needs to be done, and putting it to the visuals.
So that to me is a big deal. I just wish that it would mean something more. I do know that Star Wars itself, the Twitter on Star Wars posted a random picture of the Bad Batch this weekend and said something about. It was like it was one of those things I wish I copied it if I didn't get it cut and paste it. It was almost like as if it was a nothing thing. It could have been something that was not at all had to do with the upcoming season. It just happened to be they used the Bad Batch to comment on something. But because of what it kind of was vague enough. I was like, well, does that mean we're going to get Bad Batch trailer soon? Is that what's going on? I don't know. It seems like there's something maybe that they're pointing towards, especially with the final mix session having taken place. I don't know. We're going to find out. I think we got to have something soon. At least they should, at this point, be releasing the teaser they showed us. I showed you guys at Celebration. There's no reason why that's not out yet at this point, I would think, unless they're wanting to keep that one exclusive and have a totally new trailer just come out. I'm okay with that as well. That'd be fine. But in a way, it actually leads me to the next piece of news that we wanted to talk about that is somewhat related. Disney Plus in the UK had a press release about 2024. And it was strange in that, I mean, there's a lot to parse out. It was talking about what is coming in 2024. And it had all these different things, Marvel titles, Disney's titles, yada, yada, yada. Now, for Star Wars, they specifically just said 2 series are coming out in 2024. The Acolyte and Skeleton Crew were both named. Now, that doesn't say anything. It didn't say anything about when. It didn't say anything about exact dates or anything like that, or didn't even say anything about course. It just said they're coming in 2024. Now, of course, we had our report last week about the Acolyte or the Skeleton Crew being pushed to holiday season 2024, and that does still kind of feel the same way because the Acolyte was supposed to be more towards spring, so that feels like that's how it's rolling into play. So maybe that Bespin Bulletin rumor or leak is actually going to be accurate. But more importantly to me, what I found strange is that it did not include Bad Batch or Tales of the Jedi Season 2 at all in the comments. My initial thought when I read it, well, maybe they just don't care about the animated series, or that's something that they're not going to put in a press release, etc. However, in the Marvel section, they did list the X-Men 97 animated series that was coming in 2024.
Wait, what?
Yes. The X-Men 97 animated series that they're continuing on. Did you not know about that at all?
Shut the fuck up.
Oh, you have no idea about that. That was a big deal. It was a big announcement. They're continuing on the X-Men 97 animated series on Disney Plus. Yes.
Awesome. Awesome.
It is very cool. It is very cool. Absolutely.
That is very cool. But I don't know. It feels like because they just finished their final mixing session of the Bad Batch. Maybe they don't have a solid release date down yet. So it's kind of like we can't really announce when it's going to be coming out if we don't know when it's going to be coming out. But the last season, they kind of just threw it on us that it was coming out. And so same with Tales of the Jedi. We didn't really find out until, a few months before it came out that it was a thing.
Right. And I guess, I mean, that's right to a degree, but except like if the Bad Batch is due its final mixing, that means it's done. And you can't tell me that you can't say, like, it's not asking us to pin down a time frame, like a date, like it's not asking you to say, February, March. You can't say for sure, like, we're going to come out in 2024. That seems like it would be something that they would want to put on there. Now, is it an oversight? Maybe. Is it a potential that Disney Plus grabbed all the studios and said, all right, tell me what's coming out, and Marvel happened to include the X-Men 97 because it has very little coming out. All of a sudden they used to have like 5 series. Now they have like 2 series coming out next year. It's like, well,
they've only got one movie, right? They've only got Deadpool.
One movie, Deadpool 3, and they have Echo, and Agatha Darkhold Diaries in 2024. That's all they have in Marvel Studios, according to the press release. I don't know though. So I'm wondering if Lucasfilm was asked and they said, well, we know we have the Acolyte, we know we have Skeleton Crew, maybe they just didn't even consider the animated stuff.
Maybe.
So I'm hoping that's the case. I'm hoping it's not any case of the Bad Batch is being pushed to 2025 right now, because that would be god awful. That'd be awful. And I feel like it would be a stupid decision anyway, because obviously it is that close to being done. You have a lack of content already. You've already pushed back some things, and there's no reason. This is the time to put forth the finale of Bad Batch, get some good buzz going.
I'll be calling for Dave Filoni's job and head if I don't find out what happened to Tech this year.
Absolutely. Now
his hat.
Now he's got a bigger hat off. There you go. Now the flip side of that, honestly, is Tales of the Jedi, which we haven't heard anything about since Celebration. Not like one social media post, nothing, no drop, like nothing at all, as far as I know.
They're working on Vision Season 3 as well. I mean, they already started on that.
That was talked about, at least. I haven't heard anything about that either, to be honest. But I never expected Visions 3 to be done by next year. I expected Vision Season 3 to come probably in 2025. That's my guess. That's always my guess. But the way Tales of the Jedi work, you know that, like, for example, when they did announce Tales of the Jedi last time, they'd already been working on it for a little bit. I kind of feel that's the same way going down. The Tales of the Jedi Season 2 was announced. They probably were working on it for a bit. That's why we all assumed it was going to be 2024. There was that article in Empire that it's had. That's a little bunk now. They said 5 series in 2024, because they had said Acolyte, Skeleton Crew. They said Andor. They also said Tales of Jedi and Bad Batch would all be coming in 2024. So I don't know. I don't know how to take this. I don't want to look into the press release too much. I do find it conspicuous and weird that they don't at least say Bad Batch Season 3 is coming in 2024. Hopefully something gets released soon, and my worries will be put to bed, and we can just move on and have a happy life. But
I think it's just an oversight, because it's Celebration. They said it's going to be next year. So and if they're in the final mixing session, again, like I said last week, if they've got it in the can almost, there's no reason to hold it off.
Absolutely.
Especially if it's animated, just put it out.
Get it going. That's what I'm hoping for. So, all right. 2 little last pieces of news. One is a very brief snippet on a website called productionist.com, or productionlist.com. They do a lot of productions. They kind of let you know when things are hard to shoot and that kind of thing. I think it's for actors and directors and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There was actually an entry. Right? Yes. It is a UK website. There is an entry for the quote-unquote untitled Star Wars project directed by Obaid Chinoy. So this is the Rey film we're talking about. And it says, according to this, filming is supposed to start April 7th, 2024. Now, is that true? Did they just kind of book that date and see, well, we'll see what happens, and if we have to push it back, we will? It feels to me like a little too soon, considering how much they went to town on rewriting and everything else, and then the writer's strike hit. But if the first script was, if I remember correctly, the first script was just about done when the strikes hit. So when the writer's strike ended, they had a chance to maybe finish it and maybe do another pass. Maybe by the time April goes around, maybe that is enough time to do some production. I feel like they've done some production stuff already. As far as you can do a lot of production stuff that's like just scouting on things, site scouting and things like that. I mean, I don't know. Is it too soon?
I think the entry said that it's at Pinewood. So whatever they're going to be shooting, they're going to be shooting it in Pinewood Studios. So
okay, that actually
won't be much like location work done there, because that's all sound stages.
Although, to be fair, this also website does list Justin Britt Gibson and Damon Lindelof as writers. Now, are they going to be credited with that potentially?
They probably write it.
They will have a credit most likely anyway, so that I guess is not a next day. But I don't see our boy from Peaky Blinders though on there as a writer. So
that's a good point.
So I don't know. Interesting to say. I don't know if this means anything or not. I just thought I'd throw it out there and we can have a conversation about a quick conversation. I think that they will probably shoot somewhere around there. I think it might be a little too soon, but this does. I think we'll get going pretty soon after that, especially if it wants to release in 2026, which is what I'm hearing still.
And I know Stephen Knight is definitely writing it, because he put back doing the Peaky Blinders movie. to write this,
100%. So
I love Star Wars, but like, I want that fucking Peaky Blinders.
I know you do. I know you do. All right. Last bit of news before we get to our other section of the episode today. We're going to have a shorter episode, a tight episode, I like to call it, instead of a short episode. Takashi Yamazaki. He is the director of Godzilla -1, a film that has received unanimous praise from almost everywhere. You've seen it?
It's good.
Okay. I have not seen it. I will be seeing it now on Sunday, I believe, because they just announced that it was supposed to run for a week here in the U.S. and in theaters, only for a week. But it did so well, they've extended that for another full week, which means that I actually have a chance. I will have a chance at time to see it. I didn't have a chance, unfortunately. All our days were pretty much booked by me, so I couldn't really make it work, especially tonight, because tonight I'm going to see The Abyss in the one day only theatrical event of James Cameron.
Who knows? Maybe if you go see it enough times, I'll extend it another week for you.
Maybe, exactly. So I'm going to see it on Sunday. I've heard nothing but amazing things. My brother is a Godzilla fanatic. My bio brother Brian is a Godzilla fanatic. So you're wrong. That's okay. You can sit there in your wrongness. Godzilla whooped that monkey ass all over the screen, and he'll do it again if he needs to. He made Kong his bitch, but that's okay.
That's why he walked away when Kong was getting up. Kong didn't hear no bell.
Kong was dead. Kong had to get his heart repumped. Godzilla basically killed him. Anyway, we're not gonna have this argument. We've already had this argument. This is Star Wars. We'll have a different Godzilla versus Kong podcast. Anyway, regardless, Takashi Yamazaki was interviewed about Godzilla -1, and he mentioned Star Wars. Unsurprisingly, a lot of filmmakers do. And his quote was, "I watched Star Wars, and that's how I ended up being a filmmaker. I'm really hoping I would get a call and they'll bring me on Star Wars. I think a more Japanese or even just Eastern take on Star Wars would be really, really interesting. So I hope they call me up." The only answer I have to say to that is I haven't seen the movie, but if it's as good as everybody says it is, then I too hope they call him up. But what are your thoughts having seen Godzilla -1?
Japanese Eastern take on Star Wars, give me. I mean, what is A New Hope? It's Hidden Fortress in space.
Absolutely, 100%. I'm just all about talent, and this guy obviously has talent. I guess he has directed a space movie previously, from what I read about. I haven't seen anything from his works, so I really can't comment any further. But I do like talent, so I'm all over it. So, anything else on that? All right, let's move on.
Let's get to this reaction.
Let's get to our reaction here today. I'm going to put this on the screen and take down the old underlay, whatever you want to call it, so we can see it. And this is Podracer 2023, a trailer in 4K. Matt is excited about it.
They shot this on a volume stage, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that, but this was shot on a volume stage. And shout out to my friend Jason Chiodo from New Hope Workshop. Go check them out on Instagram. He pointed me to this trailer. So
a volume stage? Is there more? I thought volume was only for Lucasfilm stuff at this point, or Star Wars. Is there a volume stage elsewhere? Okay, interesting. I didn't know. I am ignorant, I guess, of stuff like that. But all right, I want to hear it. I think hopefully I put the sound up. Let's see what happens. All right, and away we go.
Pod racing is a dirty sport. You've got your speed junkies, gamblers, criminals. The pirates cheat, the machines fall apart. Hell, 2/3 of them don't even make it to the finish line. So what makes you think you'll be any different?
Mr. Big Shot Racer can't have friends. A light.
The best racers have nothing to lose.
Now, what do you hope to gain? This game creates icons, heroes. The Empire can't allow that.
Damn.
Dude.
damn, fan films have come a long, long way.
Dude,
And
how awesome does that look?
that
Like,
looks sweet. I mean, that looks phenomenal. I don't know what I expected, but
I can see by your face that
quality,
you were just like seeing like your lips start pursing. Like you're like,
yeah,
dude, for a fan
that
film, that's
that feels
for a
like
film
it's
in general.
yeah, it feels like Lucasfilm. That's a totally Lucasfilm work. That feels like that could have been made by Lucasfilm completely. The opening reminded me of Solo a little bit. I kind of had to like, click in the gears and kind of get the adventure thing going. But once I went from there, there was this dark, seedy side of things. There was they mentioned the Imperial side of things with the shot that seemed like reminiscent of Force Awakens with the TIE fighter, the sun. But a lot of coolness there, a lot of coolness, and it seemed like it was going to hit all the sports type metaphors you're looking for. Yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. Say when it was coming out or when they were doing what they're doing, or is that?
So that's all they could afford to do
Oh,
because it
so
was
it's
shot on the volume. That is the
so there's no
the
actual
movie.
movie. That is the movie.
No,
Okay, fair.
that is
Damn,
that
I
is the movie.
maybe get them a little GoFundMe page going or something or a thing, and
That's
let
what
them
I'm saying,
the whole
right?
thing.
Like, let's get them a
Absolutely.
Kickstarter going. Hopefully, I don't know how many people will see this, but like, if you're watching this, like, go watch the video, like, leave them a comment, just let them know you appreciate what they've done because, dude, it's incredible. I loved it.
Yeah, yeah. I'd love to see more like that. To be honest, that'd be really cool to see. So, all right. Well, let's take that and build off that, and let's move on to what you wanted to do this week. I got to thank you,
Mm.
Matty. You always come up with some great, cool ideas to do on these off weeks when we aren't covering shows, literally like episodes of shows. And you took that inspiration. You said you want to pitch our own Star Wars sports themed type movies. And I have to admit, you've talked yourself up a little bit. I can't wait to hear yours. I'm going to admit to you and the rest of the audience now. Mine is not very good. I didn't have a creative spark in me as much as I wanted to have. I have the bare bones of ideas that could probably be shaped. But let's start with the good, Matty. I want to hear your pitch, and you have the title, the first 5 cast members, the director, 3 acts like summed up, and the fist pump moment of the film.
We have to have the fist pump moment, right?
Absolutely. Shout out to Ben Bateman, Andrew Guy of the Action Guys. Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear your title, and let's go from there.
So this whole thing came from a Thank the Maker episode where a couple weeks ago they pitched their own movies, and then I saw the Podracer thing, the fan film, and I was like, let's pitch a sports movie because we both love sports movies. We both love Star Wars. It's something we've actually talked about privately. Imagine a Star Wars sports movie. And I know Jake Berlin as well. A good friend Jake Berlin has also said a Podracer movie would be sick. So I thought this would be a good episode for us.
Absolutely.
Let's get into it. My movie is called Star Wars Unity.
Okay.
It is directed by one Gavin O'Connor.
Spoiler alert: we have the same director. Who's going to do this first movie besides Gavin O'Connor, right?
What? The cast: Tamora Morrison as a bunch of clones.
Okay.
Do you have Tamora Morrison in yours?
No, I do not.
Okay. Frank Grillo as Krevin Skur, the captain of a team called the Mandalorian Monarchs. We have Ke Kwan. He said he wanted to be in a Star Wars movie, so I'm putting him in a Star Wars movie as SR-84, the droid bartender. Do you know what SR-84 is?
Yes, I do, but I can't.
Short Round 1984.
Get it. That makes sense. Okay.
You know how like Lucasfilm likes to link all the movies together? So he's SR-84 and he's a droid bartender.
I like it.
We have a cameo from Corey Burton reprising his voice as Zero the Hutt.
Zero the Hutt.
And
you may have ruined your film for me, my friend. I'm sorry. You may have ruined your film for me. But go ahead, continue.
That was the cameo. That was like, you're either going to love it or think it's genius. And then the final cast member, I can't believe no one's cast this. No one's fan cast this that I could see. From the movie Prey, Dakota Beavers as Quinlan Voss.
Oh, that is interesting. An interesting take. Oh my goodness. Right, Dakota as Quinlan Voss. I
Like
got to
the like older teen, like younger guy
yeah.
in Prey.
Oh wow.
Because I feel like Quinlan Voss has got like either a Maori or a like a Native American like
Look to him
feel
or
to
feel
it.
to him. Yeah, I could totally see that. I could totally see that. Not one I would have thought for it either, but what a great pickup that is. I like that.
Mm.
Good work, my friend.
Okay, so going to act 1. Now I haven't named these clones because I figured that would take way too long. But posted on an outer rim planet, Clone Force 23, which is a reference to Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls number. As they're preparing to depart, their captain is hit by what is called a shock ball, which is a little bit of a. If people who like read into Legends, that was a sport in Star Wars that was like first sport in Legends, is now being included in the High Republic. Group of children have been playing with it. The Bulls obviously had to charge me because it's been playing with kids. The captain throws back to the kids, but like he got such a poor throw, the team are like making fun of him. The team returns to Coruscant. They're given military leave for completing the mission. And when the captain goes back to the bar, 79s, a little bit of a Clone Wars tie in there. He sees a shot ball game on the TV between two teams, one of them being the Mandalorian Monarchs, with Frank Grillo as the captain. Captain thinks, oh, I'm going to do something fun for me and the boys while we're here. On the last day, I'm going to get tickets for the Monarchs' next game against the Coruscant Cloud Riders. You can tell I've been going in on this.
Oh, absolutely. Much better than mine already. All this is better, much better than mine.
So they go to the game, and afterwards, as the Monarchs they're greeting fans in the arena afterwards, the captain goes to meet the team as a fan. And as he goes to shake the captain, Krevin Skur's hand, Krevin Skur just looks at him up and down. It's just like, I'm not shaking your hand, clone. Like, why would I shake? Because obviously the Mandalorians and clones, not too fond of each other at first.
Right.
So they go on their next mission. Clone Force 23 is placed under the command of Quinlan Voss and sent even further into the Outer Rim to settle a dispute between two warring tribes. So they're gone for a while. It's strictly to be a non-confrontational mission, with the clones only there to assist if the conflict should escalate. On arrival, the team finds themselves bored out of their minds. And the captain's obsession with shotball has got to the point where he's watching the games while he's supposed to be on guard duty. And Quinlan Voss sees this, and being the maverick that he is, because you need that maverick coach.
Definitely
that coach that goes against the grain, the one that, like, you know, the Mickeys.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. 100%.
You need a Mickey. And Captain Dewey's like, well, instead of watching all the time, why don't you play? Like, you're not here to fight. You may as well do something while we're here, which is when we go into Act 2 and the training montage begins. Down it. We have a full training montage. Things like Quinlan Voss force pushing a shot ball into the goal, and they go like save it and whatnot. Clones are completely useless. But Quinlan Voss starts to use his Jedi teachings. Obviously, Ayla Secura was his Padawan at one point. So he starts to use his Jedi teachings to, you know, start being like patience, be in tune with yourself, focus, and the team slowly start to get better. While watching the game one night, Captain sees an advert for the Coruscant Champions League, which the Champions League is a real thing in football here. And any team from the amateur to the professional level are allowed to play. Full of doubt in his team's abilities, the captain dismisses this as a fantasy. And after a Coach Campana level pep talk from Quinlan Voss, the captain takes up the role as captain of the team. He's like, we're going to do this. We're going to win. We're going to end, not only are we going to enter this tournament, but we're going to win. The team returned to Coruscant, only to be refused on the ground that the clones are not technically citizens of Coruscant, but property of the Republic Army.
Oh boy.
So it brings in the clone rights.
I love that. I love that.
Quinlan Voss does the magic hand thingy, and he gets him in. Mind tricks the official, and he gets him signed up. The team play through the tournament. They're struggling to get through the knockout rounds, while the Mandalorian Monarchs, they dominate their group, and they get to both teams eventually get through to the tournament finals. But the clones have had a bit more of a rougher time. The day comes. the day gets set. The clones versus the Mandalorian monarchs, only for the clones to be called away. The clones get called on another mission to a battle on Nal Hutta.
Oh, man. I'm on the edge of my seat.
The league announces, because the clones are part of the military, they will postpone the game for 2 weeks. But if the clones do not return at that time, they will forfeit, and the Monarchs will win the Champions League by default, by forfeit. The team goes on the mission. Tragedy strikes as their star player is killed in the conflict. He's a younger clone who hasn't been a part of the squad for long, but this tournament gave him dreams, gave him ambition of continuing after the war and having a shot ball career. Like after the war, he's given him like hope that there's something that he can live for other than just being a soldier, other than just being a killing machine. He can be someone. The deadline draws nearer with no end to this conflict in sight. The team are now so deep in the mission that all hope of them getting back just seems completely lost. Then, with mere days remaining, data is retrieved from a separatist outpost of a conspiracy in place between the Hutt cartel and a Senate official to instigate the conflict on Nal Hutta, which would draw the clones away from Coruscant, and that the conflict was to end after the tournament. And this is due to the Senate official. This is an unnamed Senate official. Could be Tarkin, could be whoever. Not wanting the clones to believe that they are anything more than soldiers and tools for war. That these clones are giving the clones too much hope. So they manufactured this conflict on Nal Hutta with the Hutt cartel, because obviously gambling going on. They're the perfect ones to get involved. With this information, Quinlan Voss orders the team to return to Coruscant early on the grounds that evidence of corruption in the Senate must be immediately taken directly to the Jedi Council. Do not take it to the Senate. Go back. He's essentially saying, go back. I'm telling you to go back to Coruscant. You need to take this to the Jedi Council. This is your way out. Your Jedi Master, as a general, am ordering you to take this back directly to the Jedi Council. It's that important, which it is. Corruption in the Senate, that's an important thing.
Right.
The team returns to Coruscant, and the captain hands the data to none other than Master Yoda. Got to get a Yoda cameo in there.
Of course, absolutely.
The captain returns to 79. He's there to drown his sorrows. They're one man down with their star player, the young clone. He's gone. Enter SR-89, who talks to the captain and says he could play the game, like he should play the game, as when they play, the bar is full of clones that have come back from missions, all cheering for them. He plays them a holo of all the clones in the bar reacting and cheering when they win their last game. In the final cameo, we see a hand come on the captain's shoulder, and who turns to be Captain Rex. Captain Rex says, I'll play the game for you. You know, I know the rules of the game. I don't know how much help I'll be, but for you, I'll step in and play. But you have to come on my next mission with me. He arrives at the arena to play, and they're confronted by the Monarchs as they come in. As you're walking past each other, a little bit of a stare down.
Right.
A minute's silence is held for the fallen clone player, which is also, surprisingly, to the clone surprise, is honored by the Mandalorian monarchs. Like they do the moment's silence with them as well, which is a bit of a shock to the clones at the time. The two teams face off at the start of the game, with neither Krevin nor the captain agreeing to touch gloves at the start. There's still that bitterness between the two of them. During the game, and this is a little thing that could play into the future, maybe not. Krevin launches the ball and it hits the captain right in the side of the head, right where his inhibitor chip would be. And because it's a shock ball, carries an electric charge. So the captain's, he's shaking it off, but he's in immense pain. Anyway, the game ends. Very close game, but the clones end up losing. But in a moment of solidarity, Krevin approaches the captain, lifts him up from the field, and he says the following: Do you know why I didn't shake your hand before? Because your war has ripped my world apart. But when I looked into your eyes just now, I saw that it's done the same to you. And they finally shake hands. And that's the end of the movie.
Damn, man. You got me all like misty eyed over here. I get a little goose pimply. My hairs are raising up on my arms. That's a damn good sports movie, and you know it. My God, my friend. I don't even want to say mine anymore. Mine's like just not even completed like that. You have a complete film right there, ready to go. I want you to get a GoFundMe page for that. Let's do that. Good work, my friend. I love it. It's awesome. So, all right, then I will pitch mine before we wrap things up and get out of here. Mine again, far less. It's going to take like 3 minutes to do mine because mine is very bare boned. I called it Star Wars: The Prize. It is directed by Gavin O'Connor. Of course, my first 5 casting, I actually didn't even come up with names for them, but that's okay. Jonathan Groff, Jennifer Morrison, Frank Grillo, Jim Cummings, and Ed Harris.
Of course. So I'm just going to ask you the question straight up.
That's right.
What would Ed Harris play?
We're going to get up there. I'll get there. You don't see him until Act 2. We start off with Jonathan Groff's character. He's a low-level schmuck working for Hondo Ohnaka's gang. It's a different gang than because this takes place post Revenge of the Sith. This is during the rebellion. Hondo's kind of coming forth. He has a new crew at this point that he's going to lose again before we meet him again. It's all good. So Jonathan Groff's a low-level schmuck working for Hondo Ohnaka. Hondo keeps checking in on him. He watches him watching this. I don't know what the sport is called, but it's basically fighting sport that we saw in The Mandalorian. So the basic fighting, they're in the ring with The Mandalorian in season 2, episode 1. Some kind of fighting sport between each other. So Jonathan Groff has been studying these tapes for out in his off time for hours, and Hondo watches them. Hondo sees him start training with droids, and Hondo goes, "You know what? This guy's pretty good at what he does. He could use this in the ring, and Hondo can make money off of that." So Hondo figures he can make money off Jonathan Groff. He's going to enter him in this galactic tournament. It's a seedy underworld galactic tournament. This is not in the flashy lights. It is all down below, baseboard. Enters him into the galactic tournament. And he knows the Hondo can't train him in the right way. So he's got to hire somebody. Who does he hire? He hires an ex-champion, someone who's won this tournament before. Frank Grillo. Yes. Frank Grillo comes in. He is a trainer, and he starts training Jonathan Groff. And Jonathan Groff starts winning matches left and right. He has a couple of sparring matches. Everything seems to be going well for him, especially when Grillo shows up. Because until Grillo shows up, Groff, when he first starts fighting on his own, he's a little tentative. He's not quite what Hondo thought he would be. But Grillo kind of makes him the man he is. Really sits him home, gets him down. Act 2, also, we start going towards it. He wins his first round. He wins his second round. He wins his third round. We're getting towards the end of the tournament now, and Jonathan Groff is still standing tall in the ring. Enter an old alcoholic, former trainer himself, Mr. Ed Harris.
Wait. I did not see this coming. Is he going to do what I think he's going to do?
Maybe. I don't know. What do you think he's going to do?
Is he going to beat Jonathan Groff?
Who was that?
Is he going to beat Jonathan Groff?
Oh no! No. Not like that. But that'd be cool. That hair, I gotta take Ed Harris for the age he is now. I don't want him in the ring too much. I want him to do something else.
I thought you were going to go for like an age, like drunken master kind of a deal. I was like, oh.
Ed Harris comes in, and Frank Grillo sees Ed Harris and gets a little. It's not scared, but intimidated. And we're not sure why. You get a flashback. Ed Harris used to be Frank Grillo's trainer back in the day.
Yo.
And we flashback where Ed Harris stopped training Grillo because he learned Frank Grillo was cheating. Ed Harris didn't want that fucking shit. He couldn't take that. He's like, that's not what my training's about. I have an honor. I have code. You win the right way or you win without me. So Ed Harris quit the sport, left Grillo behind, and went off. And that's when he started his alcohol problems, things like that. He went down and dirty. But he noticed what had happened with Groff. He watches Groff from afar. And sure enough, Ed Harris realizes Hondo and Grillo have been fixing matches for Groff to get this way through the tournament. Ed Harris does not know that Groff isn't in on it, so Ed Harris takes Groff aside and confronts him. Ed does whoop his ass, drunken ass master style at that point. Whoops Groff's ass. But then he realizes through the confrontation that Groff was innocent. Groff had no idea what's going on. The whole time, he thinks he's winning. So Harris gets turned. He turns over a new leaf. He convinces Groff that he sees something in the fight. Even though he wins, he sees something in Groff. And he says, you know what? You can do this without cheating. Come to me. I will be your new trainer. And Harris takes on Groff, fools Grillo and Hondo's plan completely, because now I don't know what to do. Hondo's put a lot of money into this. Grillo's put a lot of money into this. So Grillo does the best thing he can do is he gets mad at Harris, gets mad at Groff, and goes to train the other guy, Groff's opponent, telling him everything that's going on. The final match, it's this other opponent, unnamed opponent, big hulking guy, versus Groff. Grillo on one side, Ed Harris on other. And we learn that Ed Harris has a daughter. Jennifer Morrison is his daughter. And she's working behind the scenes the entire time. She's with.
Go on.
She is working the entire time, and she has been Groff's love of his life ever since he was a young kid. So Ed Harris has actually been watching Groff for his entire life. We just find this out now. Like, he came forward because he knew his kid. And he wanted to step forward because he didn't want somebody without honor, without code, marrying his daughter. Now he will, because now he knows he does have code. If he has an honor, he's going to fight for him. He's going to make him a champion, make him a winner. What is revealed during these training sessions and right before the big fight, Ed Harris has been around a while. He recognizes the force in Groff. John has been using the force instinctively, and that's how he's been winning. Nothing wrong with that in the underworld fighting systems. Hey, that's what happens. That's how the brand breaks. Big 3 battle. The fight goes on for 9 rounds. They're both bloodied up. At the end of the day, Frank Grillo knows and Honda have put all their money now on the other guy, the big guy, because they want to take down Ed Harris and take down Jonathan Groff. Grillo attempts to cheat. Ed Harris sees it. Raises his hand. Knocks him down with the force. Stops Grillo from cheating. Groff wins the battle. Harris is revealed to be a former Jedi. He's one of the Lost 20 who left during the Clone Wars.
Yes, dude.
It's real at the very end. And we find out during this situation, Grillo is not about to let this down lie. He lost all his money. Grillo has called in an Inquisitor because he knows that Groff has the Force. And he's going to turn Groff over to the Inquisitors. And Harris sees this coming, though. And Harris tells him to run, take the prize, and run. And we're going to get out of here. And Morrison, he tells Jennifer Morrison to take him too. So Ed Harris sacrifices himself at the end, defeating the Inquisitor so that they can get away. But how do they get away? Groff and Jennifer Morrison run away, and they get us. There's a runaway vehicle waiting for them. They open the door. It's Hondo Ohnaka, who has a heart of gold at the end and says, "I loved you all along. You're my best friend here. You might have lost me a lot of money, but let's go and get out of here." And Hondo takes off Groff, takes Jennifer Morrison, and they fly away from the Grillo and away from the Inquisitor, and the credits roll.
Yes. Can I just say, I love that you went with the fighting movie and I went with the ball movie.
Right? It should have been the other way around. Like, that's what we would think would happen, right?
Dude, that's awesome. I love that. Because when you said Ed Harris, I was like, oh, fucking hell, here we go. Like, Ed Harris is going to, like, just come in and, like, be the grizzled old vet that's just going to, like, mop up the competition, everyone. But, like, no, he's there and he's, like, the wise and old Jedi who's, like, been watching this whole time. Very Obi-Wan watching over Luke.
Absolutely.
Kind of.
With a little more alcohol, but absolutely.
a little bit more spiked blue milk. But
exactly.
I love it because it also shows like a conversation that's been happening recently of like anyone can tap into the Force. Like you don't have to be LeBron James to play basketball. You know, you don't have to be Muhammad Ali to be a fighter. Like you can still do it. You just don't have to be as, you know, prominent as the greats.
I feel like so the analogy I've been using talking to my friends is I could sure pick up a tennis racket and and serve a ball a few times over the net and play a volley serve for somebody, but then I'm not going to. That doesn't mean I'm going to be Venus or Serena Williams. At this point, they're the Jedi. That's why they're the Jedi.
If I hit a golf ball, I'm probably going to be more like Happy Gilmore than Tiger Woods.
I'd be more like Billy Madison instead of Happy Gilmore, to be honest with you. But that's my own self. But absolutely, that's what we're thinking. That's where I have come to terms. Because I would be honest with you, like getting to this conversation now as we're wrapping up, I'll say I am one who kind of had my misgivings about Sabine having the Force, like becoming a Jedi kind of thing, when she had shown very little in Rebels, and also she was strongly showing. We had actually a conversation during the season finale that we think that she kind of came to it a little bit too soon, and that there could have been a better way to handle it, kind of thing. But I've actually sat back and thought about it more, and the more I think about it, the more I actually do like it for exactly that reason, that you don't have to be a Jedi to be able to use the Force. Anybody can be a Jedi, but like there's a Jedi superpowers, and there's the guys who use the Force every once in a while and eventually have been able to tap into emotional, to trap passion during just attempts at doing the training and things like that. I'm okay with that.
You can be a sports person. You can be
anything. Anybody uses
the Force. And the reason why I picked sports movies for this, not only because of the pod race, but like the main theme of mine, and now I'm getting from yours, is like sports can unite people. Like, I may hate your guts for your political and your social opinions, but like, if we compete and it's a fair contest, I can shake your hand afterwards and be like, you've earned my respect. Like, I may not agree with you, but you've earned my respect. And both these movies seem very, feel good against competition. Like, people, they have to face adversity, but at the end, they come together. Like with yours, Hondo, the whole time we're like, Hondo's kind of like Bricktop from Snatch. You're just like, this guy, he's a piece of shit. Like, I love Hondo. But when you were describing him in your movie, I was just like, man, I hate Hondo right now. Like, I don't want to hate Hondo. But at the end, he comes and saves the day.
It's what he does. He fucks things up, but then he'll turn Ezra and the rebels in, but then he'll also be there at the very end when you need him, because that is pretty much what Hondo does. So I love that. It was a good time. Thank you so much for pitching this idea of pitching movies. I'll do that again sometime, different genres, different things, of course.
Horror movies.
You know I'd be up for that. I'd be up for that, bad boy. But all right, let's wrap things up here then. Matty, where can the folks find you?
You guys can find me everywhere on socials down there. And while you're looking down there, you should go down there, hit that like button, and then go a little bit over more that way, and down a little bit. Hit the subscribe button. We're here every week. Now. We're back, baby.
Absolutely. Minus the 1 week we're probably going to take off for the holidays. Besides that, for Christmas week, we'll probably take that off. But that's okay. But yeah, we are back overall for the weeks ahead. Especially, hopefully, as Bad Batch comes back in early 2024. That's our hope. That's what we're going for. We'll always do something with news, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
We'll get off and they'll have announced the date, but like while we're recording.
That would be what usually happens.
I'm gonna look right now.
Yeah, look, while I'm pitching everything else, you take a look and see if we have anything to talk about. At Paul Nuzio on Twitter. Find me PLD Projects on Threads, Paul Nuzio on Blue Sky. Find me all over PLD Projects YouTube channel. We have Holy Snokes every week. I do review a every other week podcast with Lego. We talk about the sci-fi franchise V, my favorite 80s TV franchise. We also have Two Mediocre White Dudes on Film, myself and PJ Campbell, going through mostly horror franchises. We do other things as well. Right now we're knee deep in the dead with Friday the 13th. Finally going to get to talk about Jason Takes a Cruise soon. We had to put it off due to some scheduling issues. Also, though, with PJ, we have the Big Blue Box with PJ and PLD, our Doctor Who podcast we've been doing, which is not going to be a weekly show. It's going to be an after show. So whenever there's a special and when the series starts up again, we'll do it that. We're not going to have this be a weekly or even a scheduled podcast. Just be for the specials and for the series. Although we've also pitched the idea maybe once in a while we might have a special just ranking episode just for the hell of it if we have extra time, because we like talking Doctor Who. That's just the way it goes. Finally, of course, Crown Jewels. This week's episode coming out on Friday is Sheer Heart Attack, a very punk Roger Taylor song, a very rock and heavy song. That's on my sister YouTube channel, PLD Project Crown Jewels. If you're listening on the audio feed, it's all in the same feed. No worries there. If you like this stuff, click that subscribe, leave us comments, talk to Star Wars about it, talk to us about Star Wars. We love talking, interacting with you guys. If you want to support the channel even further, patreon.com/PLD Projects. Join such stalwart members as Austin Goodell, Brandon Buckingham, Jeff Alterman, Jeremiah Morris. Couldn't do this, guys, without you. We really appreciate you. You really help to keep lights on here. Have a great crew. But if you can't, I get it. I totally get it. Just do your best to let people know about us. Or that's a way you can help just by doing that. We are slowly getting up there. We got a great number of subscribers, getting close to that 500 mark that we've been talking about for a while. I know that's not much to some people, and some people have thousands and thousands and thousands. But I'm okay. I'm happy with just any incremental gains we have. And right now we are at 468, getting close to that 500. Let's keep that going.
Just get up to 469 by the end of this episode.
Let's try. Can you do it? Can you do it for me? Okay. All right. Nice. That will be it. We will see you next week on Holy Snokes. And as always, until then,
may the Force be with you always.